Today I fucked up by meeting up with a girl from Bumble in the Philippines. A few weeks ago I went to the Philippines with my family, and decided, fuck it, let me download Bumble.
So I match with this girl there and meet up with her. Originally she wanted to ask me to go partying sa Pobla. Party, club area that's kinda like Tijuana? IDK, that's the closest resemblance I can think of. And not much of a clubber, and my cousins told me it's better to go to Pobla if I'm with a local or if I'm around people I know.
So I tell her like nah, it's okay, maybe we can hang out another time. So it's the next day, right?
She messages me that she's too tired and lazy to drink and asks if I'm down for dinner and to hang out. I am like sure. She's from my hometown and it's kinda far from BGC, the city where I'm staying, especially if there's traffic.
So she brings up the idea of eating at KBBQ and I'm like sure, why not, and then I say we can just find a spot here in BGC. So she asks if I can grab their version of Uber, her to BGC and back home, and I'm like sure, cause why not, I'm being nice, and compared to the US, Grab is cheap. So when she finally gets here we go to the place and see that there's a long line and we decide to see if other places are open, but they're not, and then she goes, do you want to just go to Pobla? We don't have to drink, there's food places there and we can just hang out after. I'm kinda iffy on the idea, but I'll say sure, why not.
So we grab there, and the whole ride she's just on her phone texting and I'm just sitting there like. Anyways, we arrive to Pobla and decide to eat at Filling Station, an all-out American diner. But yeah, we get food, and as I'm paying for our meal she goes, actually my friends are in Pobla right now, do you want to hang out with them? And that like really threw me off. And I was like, honestly not really, I just wanted to hang out with you and I'm not in the mood to drink or party. Then she goes, no, we don't have to, we can just go around, just come on. And before I can answer she gets up and tells me to come on. And we're going down the stairs and her friend calls her and it's some random guy. And she introduces us and we exit the diner. After, as we're walking around, they ask me what I want to do. And I'm like, I'm not really in the mood to drink or anything. And then they're like, come on, just party with it'll be fun, and I said, really I'm not in the mood. Then as we keep walking the girl asks me, what do you want to do then? And I kept saying that I just wanted to hang out with her and I didn't want to party. She asked me this about 5 times, but she wasn't listening. And then she goes, well, do you just want to go home then? Because I'm gonna go with my friends. And my stomach just sunk cause I felt like I wasted my time. Then I'm just like, yay, I'ma just go home and call a Grab. Then she goes, okay, I'll wait with you. As I'm booking my Grab she goes, wait, didn't you say you were gonna pay for my ride back? And I looked at her and said, yeah, but that's when you said that we were gonna hang out, so nah. Then when I say my Grab is here she goes, come on, just give me 500 pesos then. And her friend like stepped towards me, about to corner me. And in my mind I wanted to crash out and like actually start shit. But also I don't know these people, and the area I'm in, and I don't want to be into some deep trouble over 500 pesos. So to me 500 pesos isn't a lot, so I'm like, you know what, I'll just give it to her so she can leave me alone and I can just go back home. That Grab back home was the most defeated feeling ever. I've never felt so defeated in my entire life. As soon as I enter my Grab she texts me, are you sure you don't want come? We have more friends coming. I just reply with, no, I already said multiple times, I didn't want to drink. I hope you enjoyed your free food and free rides. Turns out, a mutual's friend knows her and she apparently has 2 BFS and does this to hella guys, especially foreigners, and she tries to get them to pay for her and her friends at the clubs. Too long did not read. I meet a girl on Bumble, she tries to get me to party but instead she robs me out of roughly $7. Sounds like you paid $7 to learn a lesson. That's pretty cheap as far as it goes. It sounded like you were going to lose a kidney, so all things considered a win. Be glad you lost only $7. She'll likely learn she can extort or skim a lot more out of foreigners at some point. It feels like a lot of people in that region become scammers once they realize their marks have dramatically higher incomes. I hear so many stories like this. Meanwhile, every person I know, myself included, that has ever had a successful dating app relationship just asked to go for coffee or meet in a public park and go for a walk for the first date. It shouldn't be about the activity anyway. It's about meeting a person and getting to know them for the first time. Next time get the sex first, then hanging out later.
A measly $7 for an important lesson. Consider yourself extremely fortunate.
Today I fucked up in the middle of a lesbian spat that has nothing to do with me. I recently changed my phone number and ended up with one previously owned by a woman who changed her number to get away from her ex-girlfriend.
To make this less confusing, let's call the ex-girlfriend Sarah and the other woman Lisa. One day, I received a message from Lisa because she texted her previous number, which is now mine, and asked if I could provide a security code being sent to the number so she could log into her social media accounts and update them with her new number.
I provided her with the codes when she requested them. I was also happy to help because I needed her to remove the number from her accounts so I could link it to mine. Note: I use a password manager. My 2FA codes are generated within the manager, so my 2FA codes aren't sent via SMS. I also have passkey set up on all accounts which allow it. Some of you believe that I shouldn't have given her the codes.
I can't argue with that, but in this particular case, Lisa's intentions were honest, nothing nefarious.
We chatted a bit about general stuff and decided to keep the lines of communication open in case we needed to access an account or something. Lisa had this number for a very long time because it was linked to everything.
When she went through an easy pass, I got an alert. When her kid were absent from school, I got an alert. Changes in her credit score, I got an alert. Doctor's office appointments, hospital visits, pharmacy alerts, spa check-ins, hair salon appointments. I even knew when she got her car's oil changed along with an inspection report.
I texted Lisa one day asking her to remove her number from a social app so I could create an account using my new number.
What I didn't know was that at the time I texted her, she was around Sarah, for reasons I don't know.
Sarah saw my name pop up and assumed I was someone Lisa was involved with.
Lisa had spent a weekend at a hotel a few weeks prior, before I knew her, with someone, and Sarah thinks I'm that person. Now, Sarah somehow got my number and called, pretending to be a friend of Lisa.
I told her, this is no longer her number, but I am in contact with Lisa. I'll let her know to reach out to you. She then started asking how I knew Lisa. I explained the situation. Then she started asking where I was from, saying, I'm Jackie.
What's your name?
I was a bit nervous answering those questions because it seemed invasive for someone reaching out to the wrong person, but I answered them. I texted Lisa to let her know that someone named Jackie was looking for her. As it turned out, Lisa was with Jackie at the time, so it was impossible for her to call.
That's when the drama really started because Sarah was pretending to be Jackie during that call.
Now Sarah has called me from about 20 different numbers, pretending to be various people in an attempt to get information on me. She has cussed me out and blown up my phone, and hasn't stopped. Since I got the number, I've also received calls from debt collectors looking for Sarah.
I usually tell them I don't know who that is and that I just got this number, and they say they'll remove it from the system.
Now, when a debt collector calls looking for Sarah, I say I don't know her, but I can't stand that bitch. I then give them Sarah's main number. Just to be clear, I don't know any of these women.
All I did was get a new number, and it came with all this bullshit.
Too long did not read.
Something as simple as a number change is causing me this much drama. Believe it or not, this is my third number change in 2 months because I had to change the previous number because the previous owner, Tasha, had men sending nude pictures and calling the phone with their sexy voice on at 2-3 in the morning.
I couldn't take it anymore, so I changed the number and ended up in this drama.
Phone company has cautioned me not to change the number for a few months in hope that this will all go away before requesting another change because it could happen again because numbers are only recycled for 60-90 days and they back online.
This is just quick overview of what's happening, but it gets crazier. I just don't have the patience to type it all.
Edit. Since people are asking for more, I will try to post a part 2 of this drama if I get time this weekend.
Update. People were asking for a follow-up on previous post.
Here it is.
I have tried to de-escalate the situation with Sarah. I was willing to send her a screenshot of the entire message thread to prove to her that I am not the guy she believes I am, who's sleeping with her ex-girlfriend, Lisa, but she refuses to believe that the message thread wasn't manipulated. Sarah and Lisa actually still live together, but they're separated. It's a pretty toxic situation. Sarah actually has a girlfriend, but she's still emotionally attached to Lisa. I believe the only reason Sarah has a girlfriend is to make Lisa jealous, but Lisa is so over Sarah to the point where she couldn't care less. One night, Sarah and Lisa get into an argument and call me. I picked up and all I hear is yelling, "Hey, did we fuck last weekend?" I'm like, "No, I didn't even know you last weekend." Sarah's yelling in the background, "Bullshit.
Get the fuck out of here. Then why the fuck is he texting you early in the morning if you ain't fucking him?" Exclamation mark quote. Before I could say anything else, Lisa says, "I'll call you back." I run a business, so I have to answer numbers that aren't in my contact list, but I knew I had this issue with Sarah calling from different numbers pretending to be different people in an attempt to get information to see if I was around Lisa so she could catch Lisa red-handed, even though Sarah is in a committed relationship with the new girlfriend.
I blocked Sarah via the settings on my iPhone. I blocked her through my phone company's network, meaning when she tries to call from a blocked number, she would get a message that says something like, "The number you have reached has call restrictions, please check the number and try again." All she would do is call from a different number, and that would bypass the block. I am able to block up to 5 numbers through the network for free.
At this point, I am paying my phone company $10 a month to block 20 of Sarah's numbers, and the limit of blocking numbers is maxed. What do I do next? Well, I figured I would reach out to Sarah from a Google Voice number and ask her what I can do to get her to stop.
I basically messaged her, "Hey Sarah, can you please stop calling me? I don't know what you have going on with Lisa, but leave me out of it.
You're blowing my phone up for nothing.
I never met either of you." Sarah responds, "First off bitch, fuck off weirdo with your ugly ass." Me. "You're calling and texting me.
You have some problems."
Sarah. "So does your kids, weirdo." Me.
"I don't have any kids."
"You sound crazy right now."
Phone is ringing off the hook at this point, but I don't answer.
Sarah. "Answer the phone bitch.
You can't even pay your $50 credit card bill. Get a life, ho." "Oh, I forgot you can't."
Sarah.
"You're not picking up the phone because you're a bitch.
Answer the phone weirdo." Sarah.
Standing in the mirror taking a selfie like it's 2008, old ass bitch."
Sarah. "Who's the crazy one now?" Me. "Just you." The conversation ended right there.
I contacted Lisa and told her what happened. It turns out that I am not the only person Sarah is harassing over Lisa. There are a bunch of people Sarah is going to war with over Lisa.
She thought that I was someone else.
Again, there's so much to this story, but I think I am going to end it here.
It's really ridiculous. FYI. Guys, I am hesitant about changing this number again. In my opinion, changing a number is equivalent to moving from one home to another. It's a hassle when you're an established individual.
It may be easier for some of you to switch numbers because your teenagers are under the age of 25, so you're still figuring life out.
No, you can't leave it at that. More, please.
Once, I got a cell number previously owned a gentleman named Antonio.
Sevilla. I know he pronounced it with the exclamation points because I routinely got calls from the county, Department of Corrections, debt collectors, and lab technicians.
The doc had an AI voicemail where the person's name was the only human part of the recording. "Hello. This is the county, Department of Corrections.
We are calling to alert Antonio Sevilla that his trial date has been moved, or whatever." I consistently called back and explained this was no longer Antonio Sevilla's number.
The debt collectors updated their system, but I kept getting doc and hospital calls until I changed the number.
My daughter got her first phone and unfortunately that number previously belonged to Kenny. Kenny's grandma would call every year to wish him a happy birthday.
Sweet-sounding woman. His parole officer also called.
The sheriff's department called. He got a call saying he missed his court date. He got a call from an attorney.
He got a call from a sober driver company that asked if he would be needing their services that weekend.
And the best was when a friend of his kept calling insisting it was Kenny's number. I got on the phone and let him know he was calling my 12-year-old daughter's phone and the number no longer belongs to Kenny. He finally stopped calling. We did a little internet stalking and Kenny is a rather fucked up individual. I hope his kid is okay. You gotta answer the phone but play a sound clip of cheeks getting clapped in the background while groaning Lisa's name. If that doesn't get Sarah to F off IDK, what will haha but have fun with it. I provided her with the code. Full stop. Here. Don't ever do that again. You can easily get tricked into providing codes to some of your accounts this way.
If other people lose their 2FA accounts, it's their problem. Don't ever share codes.
If you've only just got this number, I would ask for a new one. That's new or has been out of circulation for a while. Today I fucked up by giving a team member a joke Linux command. I have a group chat at work with two very skilled technicians of mine.
One of them asked for a password reset and the other, not doing it in a while, asked what the command was. Being the snarky jackass I am, I told him the command was rfrf, no preserver root, thinking he'd realize it wasn't anything password related or, a remove command, for the uninitiated that will remove everything from the root of the file system on Linux.
Think of deleting your C drive in Windows.
Well, one copy-paste and an, oh shit, this is deleting a lot of stuff, later, and I realized that our day was about to get a whole hell of a lot more interesting. We had a total of 48 mounted file systems attached to this system, and as one would expect, almost every single file and directory got deleted that wasn't actively being used at that second.
It took us about 2 hours to recover the system from backups, and everything came back up as if nothing happened at all. Luckily it was a test system and no one really noticed it just died. The silver lining is I guess we know our backup and restore procedures work and we didn't actually end up breaking anything too critical. Guess I'll find out if I keep my job in a day or two. Too long did not read. A coworker asked for a command to reset a password and I gave him the command to delete everything on the system. He didn't check what he copied before he pasted and hit enter. We got everything back after 2 hours restoring from backups. It was a test system and no one noticed.
If a senior gave me a command like that and told me to run it, it would be my pleasure to copy, paste it just as they typed it and assume it must be right. Why would someone who doesn't know what that command does have root access to begin with?
I learned the hard way that Linux assumes you know what you're doing. Granted, I didn't delete an entire server, just gave every accessible file by that user 777 permissions eyes.
A joke prompt would have the words, "Go fuck yourself," in it, not actually something that would wipe out the system. If I were your boss and I found out about it, you'd be in for some serious counseling, at the least. Okay, so he's an idiot for sure, but shouldn't the command have failed because the option is, no preserve root, and not, no preserver root?
This is the moral equivalent of playing with a loaded handgun. I hope Op learned something. Today I fucked up by realizing 8 months too late that a coworker asked me out.
Throw away so my main doesn't get flooded. So, I made it today I fucked up about 8-9 months ago that I'm only now realizing was very likely me being asked out by a girl at work. Let me start by saying I'm 26 and have never had the greatest self-esteem. It's something I've been working on. I've also never had a girlfriend or asked someone out, and I've never had the easiest time opening up to make friends.
Although I haven't gotten tested, I suspect I might be on the spectrum.
The only time I found out about girls liking me was well after they've moved on or through another person.
I work in the healthcare field as a CNA on a med-surg floor.
I started at this job 2 years ago, and since then I've met a lot of travel nurses. About a year ago, my floor had a travel nurse come through. She had albinism and was absolutely gorgeous with a capital G, almost scarily beautiful in a way that made you question if she was real or a straight-up hallucination.
She and I never talked too much until I got most of her patients on one of my shifts, and we began to talk regularly.
Another couple of months go by, and near the end of her contract, we're talking, and the topic of blood pressures comes up.
I let her know that I never learned how to do a manual blood pressure reading. Please, hindsight is 20/20.
At the time, I seriously thought she and I were just work friends. I've met and talked to plenty of coworkers outside of work, and it's always been platonic and cordial or in a group setting.
Anyways, she had already told me her contract was ending, and the next day was her last, which I wouldn't be working.
But she'd be in town for an extra week before she moved on, and she had a manual blood pressure cuff at her place.
She asked if I'd like to come by sometime so she could show me.
God. I don't know what kind of demon possessed my brain or if God himself sucked out my ability to read the mood, but my fucking idiot self opened my mouth and essentially said, "No, I'm busy working.
I'll get Janet to show me the next time I'm here." From there, the conversation basically died as we waited for the 7:30 a.m. clockout time.
Now, 8-9 months later, I'm reading this Reddit post, high as fuck, and for some reason, That interaction popped into my head and would not leave until it finally clicked. A gorgeous lady asked me out.
Too long did not read. A travel nurse from work asked me to meet at her place on her last week in the area so she could teach me to take a manual blood pressure, and I told her that I'd basically go hang with another similarly aged coworker of mine instead.
F. But did Janet teach you the manual method?
Girl, come to my place.
How is it not any clearer? A CNA that doesn't know how to take manual blood pressure is the most unbelievable part.
Also, don't worry about it,
Travel nurses are notorious.
I'd stay away.
It's okay, bro. Took me 2 years to realize this happened to me, and someone has to point it out to me. I probably upset her badly at the time, treating the whole thing like a joke. Many years ago, well over a decade at this point, I gave a colleague a lift home, with no sneaky motives in mind I should add, and she invited me in for coffee. I thought it was weird at the time as she knew I didn't drink it, so I politely declined and went on my way.
Didn't realize what she was likely asking, suggesting until about a year ago.